Wow, there's a heck of a lot of interference and ghosting. It's gonna take a minute or two to lock in. By the way, this little trip you're taking is a heck of an opportunity to find out as much as we can about the Institute and what they're up to. I put a clever little program on this holotape that'll scan their network and download anything it finds. If you place it in any terminal down there, it'll do the rest. Bring it back to me and I'll see if I can make sense of whatever it found. Well, well, looks like we have a winner. RF wave capture complete. Ramping the emitter. 60%, 80%. Emitter spiking but steady. All that's left is to throw the transmit switch. Transmitting in 3, 2, 1. Stay safe, soldier.
Ah, porra. Tô só ali, tem porra. Aí sim, meu patrão. É hora do autolute. Parece um lugar normal, né? Não é aquela bosta lá dos ermos.
Hello. I wondered if you might make it here. You're quite resourceful. I'm known as Shaun. The Institute is under my guidance. I know why you're here. I'd like to discuss things with you face to face. Please, step into the elevator.
Ah, aqui olha, nossa. Os caras são contemporâneos, bicho.
I can only imagine what you've heard, what you think of us. I'd like to show you that you may have the wrong impression. Welcome to the Institute. This is the reality of the Institute. This place, these people, the work we do. For over 100 years, we've dedicated ourselves to humanity's survival.
Pô, os caras são bons, bicho.
Decades of research, countless experiments and trials, a shared vision of how
É aquela
science
bosta
can
lá
help
que tem, né?
shape the future.
Lugar
It has never
bonito.
been easy, and our actions are often misinterpreted by those above ground. Someday, perhaps, we can show them what we've accomplished. But for now, we must remain underground. There's too much at stake here to risk it all. As you've seen, things above are unstable. I'd like to talk to you about what we can do for everyone. But that can wait. You are here for a specific, very personal reason. You are here for your son.
Desce, sobe. Ei. Yeah.
Shaun?
Huh? Yes, I'm Shaun.
Shaun, I've been looking for you for so long.
Who are you?
Shaun, it's me. I'm your dad.
Father, what's going on? What's happening?
Shaun, are you okay? You're not hurt, are you?
What's going on? Father? Father!
Shh. It'll be okay, Shaun. I'm here now.
I don't know you. Go away. Father! Father, help me! There's someone here. Help me!
Who is Father? Where is he?
Father? Father, help me! He's trying to take me! Father? Father, help me!
Shaun. S923, recall code Cirrus. Fascinating, but disappointing. The child's responses were not at all what I anticipated.
Ué,
He's a prototype, you understand. We're only just now beginning to explore the effects of extreme emotional stimuli. Please try and keep an open mind. I recognize that you are emotional, and that your journey here has been fraught with challenges. Let's start anew. I am Father. Welcome to the Institute.
Father? That's your name? Your title?
Father is my unofficial title. It's what I've come to mean to the people of the Institute, just as you mean to your son, to Shaun.
Just... help me understand what's going on here.
I promised answers, and answers you shall have. But I need you to realize that this situation is far more complicated than you could have imagined. You have traveled very far, and suffered a great deal to find your son. Well, your tenacity and dedication have been rewarded. It's good to finally meet you, after all this time. It's me. I am Shaun. I am your son.
How is that even possible?
I know this is a lot to take.
what?
In the vault, you had no concept of the passage of time. You were released from your
É parecido, né?
and went searching for the son you'd lost. But then you learned that your son was no longer an infant, but a 10-year-old boy. You believed that 10 years had passed. Is it really so hard to accept that it was not 10, but 60 years? That is the reality. And here I am, raised by the Institute, and now its leader.
But why? Why take a child? Why take you?
Ah, now that's the question, isn't it? Why me? At that time, the year 2227, the Institute had made great strides in synth production. But it was never enough. Scientific curiosity and the goal of perfection drove them ever onward. What they wanted was the perfect machine. So they followed the best example thus far. The human being. Walking, talking, fully articulate, capable of anything.
Human synths? Really?
Human-like synths. A great distinction. The Institute endeavored to create synthetic organics. The most logical starting point, of course, was human DNA. Plenty of that was available, of course. But it had all become corrupted. In this wasteland, radiation affected everyone. Even in their attempts to shield themselves from the world above, members of the Institute had been exposed. Another source was necessary. But then the Institute found me, after discovering records from Vault 111. An infant, frozen in time, protected from the radiation-induced mutations that had crept into every other human cell in the Commonwealth. I was exactly what they needed. And so it was my DNA that became the basis of the synthetic organics used to create every human-like synth you see today. I am their father. Through science, we are family. The synths, me, and you.
And you've been down here the whole time?
I have. Yes. I know you must have questions. Please. Anything I can do to help you understand.
Kellogg. He worked for you?
Kellogg. He was an Institute asset long before I arrived here. It wasn't until I became director that I learned of all the things he'd done. What kind of man he was.
You knew the man was a psychopath, but you used him anyway?
Would you have preferred that I turned him loose on the Commonwealth? At least keeping him on a short leash kept the collateral damage to a minimum. The Institute took advantage of Kellogg's vicious nature. I will freely admit that. Institute technology prolonged his life, and his usefulness far beyond any normal human lifespan. He never failed the Institute, but his cruelty became more apparent with every completed objective. I won't lie. It's no coincidence your path crossed his. It seemed a fitting way to allow you, us, to have some amount of revenge. What else can I say to ease your mind?
Your mother. She never got to see you grow up.
Yes. What happened to her was... I've gone over the records of the incident, of course. It seems her death was an unfortunate bit of collateral damage.
Collateral damage? Is that all she was to you?
What would you have me say? The world is a dangerous place. Although I think maybe it always was. It's just a bit more honest about it now. For many years, I never questioned who my parents were. I accepted my situation, and that was that. With old age comes regret. And asking what if more often. But what matters now is that you and I have a chance to begin again. What else can I say to ease your mind?
So you're in charge of the Institute?
I am the acting director, yes. I spent decades working to reach this point. It's a responsibility I take very seriously. The Institute. It's important. It really is humanity's best hope for the future, no matter what those above ground might think of us.
But, director? Why you?
I was the most qualified for the position, obviously. I've lived my life within these walls, dedicated to science like every other member of the Institute. My hard work has paid off. Ultimately, the Commonwealth has nothing to fear from us. Whatever you've seen or heard, I know I can convince you of that. Just give me time. I know there's more for us to discuss. But the Institute is on the verge of some important breakthroughs. Your presence would be appreciated as we approach them. I've been a part of something amazing here. I've helped to build a life for myself and the people of the Institute. And now, after all these years, you have an opportunity to help with that. Doesn't that intrigue you? Isn't that what you want?
You want me to stay here? In the Institute?
Yes, that is what I propose. Is it so hard to imagine? The Institute can provide a better life than anything above ground. You've been in the Commonwealth. You've seen what it's like. I assure you that you are better off with us.
How can you say that? How can you be so dismissive of all those people? Everything they've done?
Because it is the simple truth. And I believe you know it too. I simply ask that you give the Institute, me, a chance. A chance to show you what I've been telling you. We really do have humanity's best interest at heart. Will you take that chance?
I just don't know.
Just give it time. Give the Institute a chance. The Institute is now your home as much as it is mine. Please take some time to get to know it. Meet the people you'll be working with. You'll want to introduce yourself to the division heads. Dr. Fillmore in facilities, Dr. Ayo in SRB, Dr. Holdren in bioscience, and finally Dr. Lee in advanced systems. They've all been notified of your arrival, of course. Meet them, and then we'll discuss what comes next.
É bizarro, pô. Vamos ver informações. Caralho, como é que eu errei esse troço? Ner. Caralho. Deixa eu dar. Peraí. Hold. Ah. Ah, não posso desligar o sintético. Porra. O código do diretor.
Hey, Doc.
You know what happens when people get robots to do real people doing real thinking and real work? That's the future I want.
No argument here.
Nice to meet someone who isn't obsessed. I've been saying for years that we're...
Right.
Maybe you can talk some... In any case, I suppose I should say, welcome. Perhaps a fresh Don't make excuses. You're...
Dr. Higgs.
There's a lot of hubris around here lately, and I don't care for it.
All systems nominal.
Bora. Isso é pelo loot.
Scanning Unknown identity. Clearance confirmed.
Tá tipo, foda-se.
Welcome to the Institute, sir. Be on the lookout for unusual synth behavior.
Scanning.
Cheio de sintético aqui.
Identified.
It's an honor to have you here, sir.
No physical reaction to the K-14 compound.
Excuse me.
Once you've settled in, I'll want to do a physical and get a file going on you. No hurry, though.
You're the doctor here?
Everyone's a doctor here. But if you mean physician, then yes, I'm about as close as we've got to one. How about you take some time to get comfortable, learn the lay of the land and such. In the meantime, you come see me if you need to get patched up. We'll do that checkup when you're good and ready. Take care of yourself, so I don't have to. I honestly don't know. I suppose it's your job to find out. Now hold still.
Hey, Eve, have you seen my notebook around?
No. Did you leave it somewhere else?
I can't remember. Oh well, I don't need it right now.
For such a smart kid.
All done. You can return to your duties, and remember to record every symptom you experience in detail.
I hope I'll prove a useful test subject for you, Doctor.
Tô aqui pelo loot.
So you're father's father, but he's older than you. That's weird.
Tá estranho. Pô, tem água aqui, porra.
Almost done. Just need to tighten up this primary drive servo.
They weren't kidding. You really are here. Well, all right. I'm Allie Fillmore. You can think of me as the Institute's chief engineer. When Father told us about you, I could hardly believe it. You've been through so much. I think most people would have just given up. If you don't mind...
Putz, pulei a pergunta.
You ask? I'm a complete stranger to you.
I suppose when I heard your story, I just... well...
Pulei a pergunta.
I felt sorry for you. You've suffered more tragedy than any one person deserves. Your whole world is gone. I'm sorry. I know that was a very personal question. Now, I'll give you a quick rundown of the facilities division, and then I'll answer any questions you might have afterward. As you might guess, we keep the Institute's mechanical and electrical systems running smoothly. We maintain and upgrade all of the systems that make it possible to live and work in a place like this. There's a lot of machinery behind these walls that recycles the air and water and provides power to the laboratories and quarters. The work we do might not be as exciting as some of the other departments, but it's at least as important. So, now that you're here and you've spoken to Father, does that mean you're on board?
I'm not on board with anything.
No? And yet here you are, poking around. One might find that suspicious. If you're not planning on staying, I'd recommend keeping your hands to yourself. Wouldn't want to give the impression you're up to something. And consider having another talk with Shaun. He really is anxious to have you with us. If there's anything else you'd like to know about the facilities division, I'm happy to discuss it.
Who built this place originally? Has it been here long?
The construction of the Institute is the work of generations of scientists. The original survivors of the war, our progenitors, took refuge in the basement of the old Commonwealth Institute of Technology. Over time, their sons and daughters dug deeper into the earth and built increasingly sophisticated habitats and laboratories. It's a process that's still going on today. Even now, we're digging out tunnels for new facilities and infrastructure. Just think what this place will look like 100 years from now. I hope I'm there to see it. That's the third primary drive breakdown this month. As far as I'm concerned, the phase out on...
Allie.
Oh,
Hey,
I don't know.
what do you need?
Most of them have lasted long past their projected lifespans.
It must
You
be a
asked me.
challenge to meet the power demands of a place like this.
Absolutely. We scratch and scrape for every precious ounce of voltage that we can. Over the years, we've learned a few tricks that help supplement our power budget. When necessary, we can tap into select sources on the surface. We take only what we need, of course. Fortunately, Advanced Systems is always working on new solutions to generate more energy. It's a good thing, too, because the demand is always increasing. You don't even want to know what a single use of the molecular dematerializer consumes. I can't argue with that.
Dr. Fillmore,
Hi
All
there.
set.
Something I can help you
return
with?
to duty.
I'd like to know about the people in your division.
Of course. Dr. Lawrence Higgs is our mechanical engineer. He oversees the major life support and security systems. Power distribution is Dr. Evan Watson's area of expertise, and Dr. Newton Oberly is in charge of food and housing. He coordinates with bioscience to ensure that our meals are balanced for optimal nutrition. We also make use of a number of synth units for low-priority maintenance and labor.
É meio foda-se.
Thanks again. Of course.
Remember to keep unnecessary power consumption to
If
a
you
minimum.
require maintenance,
Don't
please file a
Excuse
request
me,
for
Doctor.
facilities
If you haven't
division.
patched your navigation software, do so after this meeting. It's a real juggling act, trying to keep all the systems down here operating in the green. This place might look shiny and new, but there's a lot of old technology in these walls. I lose sleep worrying about when the next blackout's gonna hit.
How old are we talking about?
Well, the reactor and a lot of the related systems, you know, cooling, monitoring, power distribution, that's all pre-war tech. Most of the superstructure down here was built later, by the people who survived the war. I guess each generation's been tinkering with the place, adding labs, making upgrades, and so on. There's some stuff I need to check on. See you. All right. That's
Dr. Thompson.
Power demand jumped another 5% this year.
I apologize for any disruptions that my work might cause you.
I fix one relay and 2 more start to fail. At least I'm not bored.
Tem que falar mais com ele.
Operating at full capacity.
You know the protocol, sir. Authorized personnel
Doc.
only.
Welcome. Welcome. It is so good to meet you. I truly hope you come to think of the Institute as your home.
What do you do here?
Oh, I'm in charge of housing and provisions. It's my mission to ensure that everyone lives a comfortable and productive life. You should know that many of us consider it a great honor to have you here. So Dr. Ayo thinks he can hide in his office, doesn't he? Well, you can tell him that.
Interessante.
We're all looking forward to working with you.
Report anything suspicious to the SRB.
Maybe I should take some courses with you. Send a message.
Please don't. There's enough friction as it is
Excuse me,
between
Doctor.
us and pretty
So,
much all the other departments.
Here you are. Justin Ayo, Acting Director of the Synth Retention Bureau. I'll be upfront with you. We're going to be keeping a close eye on you for the near future. Despite your relation to Father, you're a bit of an unknown quantity. I'm sure you understand. There won't be any issues, will there?
Why? Don't you trust me?
I'll be honest. You're an outsider. The first outsider to be allowed access to the Institute in quite a long time, in fact. There's little precedent for this situation, so it's only natural to take extra precautions, It's nothing personal, I assure you. Now, Father has asked that I provide you with a brief overview of the Synth Retention Bureau. Our primary responsibility is the recovery of escaped synths that are hiding among the human population on the surface.
Why would synths want to escape?
Synths do not want. They might look like human beings, but they're machines. As to why they're escaping? That matter is currently under investigation. Our main instrument is the Courser, a third-generation synth assigned to operate on the surface. Coursers hunt down and reclaim synths that have escaped the Institute. They are highly self-sufficient, trained in combat, infiltration, and tracking. In a word, our Coursers are relentless. But I gather you know all this, since you've encountered one already. In fact, I'd very much like to know
Encontrei um e botei pra mamar.
I'm no stranger to combat.
Even so, a Courser should be more than a match for any single combatant. I suppose I'll have to ask robotics to perform detailed diagnostics on the entire production run. As if we don't have enough problems. Now, unless you need something else, I'll get back to work.
You mentioned that coursers undergo special training. Tell me more about it.
The SRB constantly monitors our Gen 3 synth population, looking for specific traits. Those who show tenacity, fearlessness, and independence undergo a rigorous training regimen. We teach them armed and unarmed combat, investigative techniques, psychology, and mechanical skills. Those who pass a final evaluation become coursers. The rest have their memories wiped and return to their former duties.
Power armor? What would you need that for?
power armor is sturdy enough, but it limits your mobility.
Opa, meu amigo. Opa! Informantes. Grilo. Tome. Filho da puta, cara lixeira. Cara lixeira dessa porra. Achei que antes de pagar a memória, né? Ué. Tem mais informação, né? Nossa nova visita. Caralho, prefeito, porra. O prefeito é um sintético, que eles estavam certos, né? Engraçado, né?
Nothing to report, sir.
When are you going to tell me about this mysterious Phase 3?
You know I can't talk about
Hi.
child sin. It's just remarkable. Good to see you.
Fase 3 nas crianças sintéticas.
been testing?
Nothing. At this point, she's just doing it for fun.
Doctor.
Oh, hi there. Sorry if I seem distracted. I memorized 5 sets of design schematics, and now I'm doing detailed mental comparisons.
What kinds of blueprints?
Mostly components for a new plasma pistol concept I've been toying with. High-energy weapons are sort of a hobby of mine. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. I just wanted to say how much I admire Father, and that it's an honor to meet you. I really hope you'll stay here with us.
Rapaz, tô pegando muito item aqui, maluco.
Well, that was productive.
O item, maluco.
Doctor.
Oh, it's you. You're not authorized to be here.
Authorized to be where? What is this place?
You're standing in the Advanced Systems Division, and you are not a part of my staff. If you want a tour of the place, why don't you ask Father, seeing that he's apparently given you the keys to the castle. Now, can I get back to work?
What are you working on?
There's no getting rid of you, is there? You're obviously here for a reason, and you've already spoiled my experiment, so you might as well spit it out.
Let's just say that you've regained the attention of a certain group that I represent.
Stop beating around the bush. It's obvious that you're from the Brotherhood of Steel. I knew it was just a matter of time before your people would track me down. I've been looking over my shoulder for almost a decade, waiting for them to send someone like you to kill me.
Why would we want you dead?
I did some pretty sensitive work for the Brotherhood of Steel. Even though Lions let me go, there were a few others in the ranks that thought I knew too much. That's why I came to the Institute. It was the only place that I thought I'd be out of the Brotherhood's reach and still be able to do my research. Since Father trusts you, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I might not agree with everything he says, but I know he'd never allow harm to come my way. Say what you came here to say, and then leave me alone.
Are you happy here?
You'd think being surrounded by cutting-edge laboratory equipment and some of the greatest minds the world's ever known would be enough. Only problem is the lack of transparency. I don't think we get the full story of everything that occurs down here. What does that have to do with why we're talking?
The Brotherhood needs your help, Doctor.
Needs my help? Why? They seemed to have everything under control when I left.
The Brotherhood is having problems, and we need your help.
I don't see how that's my problem. Tell me something. Why would I possibly want to come crawling back to the Brotherhood? What reason would I have to throw away everything I've accomplished here?
Father trusts me, and so should you.
You're wasting your breath. I'm a scientist.
Ah, não funcionou.
The Brotherhood desired my creations in order to destroy, to take control. I'm not interested in returning to that way of life.
I give up. What would it take to convince you?
All right, I'll play your game. I had a colleague down here, a Dr. Virgil. Several months ago, there was an accident in his lab, and he was killed. I wanted to help with the investigation, but Father had the laboratory sealed, saying that it was contaminated. The incident never sat right with me. The more I asked about it, the more I felt like Father was deflecting my questions. If you bring me solid information on what killed him, I'll take it as a favor from the Brotherhood and consider your offer. Do we have a deal?
I know this may come as a shock, but Dr. Virgil is still alive. I met him myself.
Oh, please. Do you really think a cheap tactic like that is going to work on someone like me? Stop trying to avoid the legwork by lying. Either you get me the evidence, or we have nothing else to talk about. Deal?
Deal.
All right. Dr. Virgil's lab was in the Biosciences Division. I can give you a code that will get you into the section, but the lab itself has been sealed, so you'll have to breach it on your own. I'd tell you to be quiet about it, but your Brotherhood and discretion isn't exactly your strong suit. And finally, if you get caught, we never had this conversation. Now, for the sake of keeping up appearances, let me see that Pip-Boy of yours. I've been told to install a courser chip in it for you. Father's orders. You're to be given full access, with the ability to relay in and out of the Institute at will.
A courser chip? What's it do?
The same thing it does for our coursers. Creates a link to the relay that allows them, and now you, to get in and out at will. In case the significance is lost on you, you'll be the only one here with that kind of access. If nothing else, it should demonstrate the amount of trust Father has placed in you. Speaking of, I trust our discussion will remain between the two of us. Now, I need to get back to work, and I'm sure you have other things to do.
Tive que terminar o dela, porra.